Hey there. I've had a really alarming situation come over this weekend with regard to mortgages. So I had a veteran who's working really hard to get into a house, but declined a couple times by the sellers. This one really angered me though, because his offer was actually higher than the other offer. But unfortunately, got declined because the stinking seller didn't want to accept a VA offer from those crazy veterans. And it really upset me because I know I'm very good at VA loans. I know I can close it on time. I'm pretty darn qualified. Most of my business is VA loans. I even wrote a freaking book about it, for goodness sakes. But I'm trying to have a little bit of sympathy for the other side. And I know that most sellers actually don't hate veterans. Most of the time, it's because they don't understand minimum property guidelines. Unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents and a lot of the sellers are just going by whatever the real estate agent says. Unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents are very, very misinformed about minimum property standards for VA home loans. And so in this video, I'm going to share what minimum standards are for VA home loans and also compare those to the conventional home loans. And as you can see, or as you will see, I should say, the guidelines really aren't that far apart. It's not, for some reason, there is the stigma that realtors think that a home that's going VA has to be this immaculate, near perfect house, has to be perfect and not have a single scratch and nothing aged. And the conventional one can be just this boarded up mess and it'll go. And it's not nearly like that. And so here are the minimum standards for VA home loans, straight from the VA handbook. So we're going to talk about VA minimum property requirements, as they call it, or MPRs, as the VA likes to say. Like to have their little acronyms. The first thing you need to know is and it's straight from the VA handbook, the house needs to be safe, sound, and sanitary. Seems pretty reasonable. You don't want to live in a house that's unsafe. I don't want to live in a house that's unsafe. Safe, sound, and sanitary means things are clean. And there's no pests and things going on that'll get you sick. That seems like a very reasonable thing to expect in a house you're buying. And so what this means is, for example, the electrical and plumbing needs to work and be safe. Oh gosh, I sure hope so. Who'd want to live in a house that has unsafe plumbing, right? Another thing to know is no exposed wiring anywhere. Because again, who the heck wants exposed wiring? This one, VA and FHA have this, which I think is actually a good thing. No chipping paint for a house built before 1978. That's because of the lead paint situation. So, but fixing chip paint is a very, very minor repair. You're talking $200 at most. Also on VA, no termites. If you live in a termite area, which is 95% of the country, no termites, you will have to have a separate termite inspection for that whopping $65, which who the heck wants to buy a house with termites? And if you have termites to start with, wouldn't you want to get rid of them anyway? So that's pretty much common sense. No broken glass. So if you have a window, you should probably fix that. Again, common sense. Hopefully you have your windows fixed. The roof needs to work. Again, gosh, I hope so. No leaks. No foundation issues. Again, I sure hope you don't have foundation issues and mold and weird stuff going on down there. So as you can see, the VA guidelines really aren't that bad. I mean, it's just really common sense. The house needs to work. Things need to come on. They need to come off. Where things need to come off if they're supposed to come off, they need to come off, I should say. Now let's compare that with conventional mortgages, because like I said, a lot of people think that we'll just go conventional. It's so amazing that nothing will ever go wrong and we'll never get any issues with a conventional mortgage. And I'm here to tell you, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, right. Because I have certainly seen appraisers come after me on conventional loans. Roof needs to be functional without leaks. Oh gosh, I sure as heck hope so. Plumbing needs to work without leaking. That seems to be pretty common. I would sure hope so. Again, no wiring issues. And all the mechanical and sanitary issues all the mechanical and sanitary systems need to work. Again, gosh, I sure as heck hope so. You're buying a house. So as you can see, yeah, conventional is a little bit easier, but it's not like this massive spread between the two. The house needs to be functional, Stuff needs to work, and the house needs to be safe to live in. So how do we determine if the house is unsafe? Well, the appraiser actually makes the determination, not the home inspector. So what will happen is when the house is being appraised, the appraiser will determine if the house meets the valuation that the contract stated, or if it meet the purchase price, I should say. And if the valuation meets that, or if it doesn't meet that, then they can figure that out. And then the appraiser will also determine if the house is safe to live in based on the standards for that program. Also, if not, the seller could fix it prior to closing. Again, no big deal. And luckily, there are other options. So what if you're trying to buy a house and you're like, oh man, that's a big long list, Carlos. What do we do? Well, guess what? There are renovation programs out there. I have all renovation programs, VA, FHA, conventional, even USDA. So if you're trying to buy a house and you're like, well, this house is amazing, it doesn't meet those standards, and maybe you talk to the seller's like, I don't want to deal with that. There are renovation options available. So please feel free to reach out to me. So those are the minimum standards for VA loans and conventional loans. As you can see, the VA loan is not a scary program. It's pretty basic stuff. The house needs to work. What a crazy idea. The house needs to be safe. What a novel concept. The house needs to have termites. Crazy, crazy. So if you're a seller, please consider VA offers. These veterans have more than deserved it by putting their life on the line defending our country. And as always, you have any questions about mortgages, VA loans, or conventional loans, or you just need clarification on what I just talked about, feel free to give me a call. My number is 937-572-3713 or scarpero.com. Talk to you soon. Bye.